Imagine discovering that a simple neighborhood disagreement over a video game is actually, well, it's a proxy war for a decade-old psychological trauma.
Right. It sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does. I mean, usually you build a fence maybe an inch over a property line, someone complains, the town gets involved, and it's fixed.
Exactly. It's structural, it's physical.
Yeah. But what happens when the dispute isn't about physical land, but about psychological safety?
That is a big question.
Right. So today's deep dive takes us into a community known as the Safe Haven. Based on the documents provided for this deep dive, this appears to be a shared residential or perhaps agricultural space.
Yeah, they refer to them as the farmhouses.
Right, the farmhouses. So it's a physical environment where you would totally expect boundaries to be marked by like wooden fences or property lines. But instead, we are looking at this wild landscape of emotional boundaries that are just built entirely out of past pain.
Yeah, it's really intense. We are examining a highly personal, raw, and just deeply intense narrative today. And it's pieced together from two unique sources.
Which are super interesting on their own.
They really are. We have a written personal account, and we also have a YouTube video transcript. The video is titled Never Again, and it's from a channel called BZ.
Okay.
And synthesizing these documents, well, it reveals a really complex web.
Yeah.
I mean, from the narrator's perspective, this isn't just local neighborhood drama.
Not at all.
No, it is a profound look at manipulation, factional bullying, and honestly, how unhealed childhood trauma basically dictates the systems of justice we create as adults.
Okay, let's unpack this because I really want to look at how a relatively simple lie, one that, you or I might just brush off in everyday life, somehow spiral into this rigid five-strike system of total banishment.
It's quite the escalation.
It is. So we have to start at the foundation, right before any alleged bullying even occurs, just to understand the players involved in this written account.
Right, begin to lay the land.
Exactly. So our narrator goes by Benzito, and he clearly positions himself as this fierce protector of the safe haven property.
Very much so.
And under his wing is a 7-year-old boy named Riley. The conflict really kicks off when a new individual enters this dynamic.
Right, someone named Quiwin.
Yeah, and the text specifically notes it's pronounced K-A-H-W, which is super important because Quiwin introduces himself to Benzito with a blatant lie.
A huge lie right out of the gate.
Yeah, he claims his name is Quentin, or Cowie.
And that initial deception, it's a crucial data point for us. I mean, lying about something as fundamental as your name to a new neighbor, it isn't just a quirk,
Right, it's weird.
It is weird. In the context of behavioral psychology, it is often a test of reality testing.
Oh, interesting. What does that mean exactly?
Well, according to the narrative, Quiwin is basically probing to see how easily he can distort the truth within this new environment. It's a way of testing the structural integrity of the safe haven's boundaries.
Wow. Okay, so he's checking for weak spots. But those boundaries are defended immediately. It's actually 7-year-old Riley who exposes this lie to Benzito.
Good for Riley.
Seriously. So when Benzito confronts Quiwin, according to the account, Quiwin just lies straight to his face again.
Double down on the lie.
Yep. And this triggers what Benzito designates as strike one, and the punishment, a total ban from the safe haven farmhouses.
Which is a pretty heavy consequence for a first offense.
It is. But Benzito eventually relents. He forgives him and allows him back onto the property.
But that piece is incredibly short-lived, right?
Oh, totally short-lived. We immediately move into strike two, and the narrative shifts from this simple lie to something that looks like, well, targeted manipulation over a video game.
Right, the jealousy aspect.
Yeah. Quiwin allegedly doesn't want Riley to play a game. And rather than just having a normal disagreement like kids or neighbors do, Quiwin actively tries to convince Benzito to hate Riley.
And see, what's fascinating here is that wedging tactic. It's a classic mechanism of isolation.
Wedging tactic.
Yeah. When an individual with manipulative tendencies enters a new social ecosystem, a common strategy is to sever the target from their support system.
Oh, I see.
So by trying to turn Benzito against Riley, Quiwin is attempting to dismantle the child's safety net. If you can cut off a person's protector, you basically control their environment.
Wow. But Benzito doesn't fall for it, thankfully.
No, he doesn't.
The account notes he goes directly to 7-year-old Riley to get his side of the story. And when Benzito brings Riley's truth back to Quiwin, guess what?
Let me guess. Quiwin lies again.
Bingo. Quiwin lies again. This earns him strike two, which Benzito defines as a strict 1-month ban from the safe haven.
A whole month.
Yeah. And Reading through this source material, the analogy that just kept popping into my head is that Benzito is running like a strict HR department for a friendship.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right. It reads like, you violated Section 4 of the Friendship Code, so you are suspended without pay for 30 days.
Complete with formal citations.
Exactly. But I mean, I have to push back on Benzito's framework here for a second. Isn't a strict month-long exile over a video game dispute and a lie incredibly extreme?
It seems like it on the surface, sure.
Right. Because you and I see neighbors bicker over trivial things all the time without instituting a penal code.
Well, Benzito is essentially acting as an emotional immune system here.
An immune system.
Yeah. From his perspective, the video game is completely irrelevant. It's merely the vehicle for the manipulation.
Okay, I'm following.
He has detected an antigen, the deceptive behavior aimed at isolating Riley, and he is mounting this massive, disproportionate defense to eradicate it before it spreads.
That makes a lot of sense.
In Benzito's mind, creating a hypervisible, rigid structure of strikes is the only way to make the invisible boundaries of psychological safety tangible. To him, clarity, even harsh clarity, equals safety.
Harsh clarity, I like that phrase. And that harsh clarity leads us right to the boiling point in this story.
Because things escalate quickly.
Very quickly. We are moving from covert manipulation into the territory of overt abuse.
Right.
So following that 1-month ban, Quewin is allowed back into the safe haven again. And for 4 months, the sources suggest things are quiet. Everything seems fine.
But it's a false piece.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because then Benzito notices a severe behavioral change in young Riley. The document states the 7-year-old becomes quiet, deeply frightened, and actually goes out of his way to physically avoid Quewin.
And a sudden withdrawal in a child is a major red flag in developmental psychology.
Is it really?
Oh, absolutely. It indicates that the environment has become threatening enough to trigger a freeze or flight response.
Wow.
And the sources detail exactly how that threat was being managed by Quewin.
Right, because whenever Benzito attempts to ask Riley what's wrong, Quewin physically inserts himself into the conversation.
Exactly.
He hijacks a dialogue just to prevent Riley from speaking.
Which is a deliberate silencing tactic designed to maintain the isolation we discussed earlier. He's trying to keep that wedge in place.
It's so calculated. But it all shatters in November 2025.
The big confrontation.
Yeah. Benzito's account describes him witnessing Quewin verbally and physically bullying Riley. This becomes strike 3.
And under Benzito's HR-style system?
Strike 3 is the ultimate penalty, a permanent ban.
Permanent.
Yes. Quewin is no longer welcome at the safe haven, ever.
But the narrative documents a massive shift in power dynamics in this exact moment, doesn't it?
It really does. With Benzito stepping in and providing that impenetrable backing, Riley finally stands up for himself.
That's a huge moment for a 7-year-old.
Huge. The kid shows he isn't scared of Quewin anymore, and the text uses a very specific word here. It says this moment completely breaks Quewin.
It breaks him because bullies operate on a currency of submission.
Currency of submission. I like that.
Their power is entirely dependent on the victim's fear and compliance. When a victim like Riley realizes they are protected and refuses to submit, the aggressor's illusion of control just shatters. So that break the text refers to is the total collapse of Quewin's perceived dominance over this kid.
And instead of accepting the ban and walking away like a rational person might, Quewin escalates.
Of course he does.
The source states he brings his boyfriend Taylor into the safe haven to intimidate Benzito and Riley.
Bringing it for backup.
Exactly. But Benzito shuts that down, completely holding his ground.
So Quewin fails again.
Right. Failing as an individual and failing with his partner, Quewin pivots. He forms a group. He actively recruits others to target Riley, positioning himself as the leader of this new faction.
And what does Benzito call this group?
He dubs this group the Lizards.
The Lizards. Okay, so we are seeing the transition here from one-on-one aggression to factional warfare.
Factional warfare in a neighborhood. It's crazy.
It is, but sociologically, when a primary aggressor loses their target, they often experience a severe bruising of the ego.
Right, because his dominance was broken.
Exactly. To restore that ego, they recruit a surrogate power base. By creating an in-group, the Lizard's Quewin is trying to establish a mob mentality to overwhelm the out-group, which is Riley and Benzito.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting, and I want you listening to consider the implications of this next move.
It's a controversial one.
Very. Quewin brings his cousin, a person named Matayo, into this lizard group.
Okay.
And in response, Benzito hands Matayo a strike 3 permanent ban before Matayo even does anything.
Just right off the bat.
Right off the bat. The ban is issued purely because Matayo is family to Quewin. Benzito knows Matayo through Quewin, and that genetic and social association alone is enough for a lifetime exile from the safe haven.
Wow.
Yeah. And then strike 4 is issued to the group as a whole for their continued bullying. So, throwing this to you, Benzito bans an arguably innocent family member just by association. Has this strict justice system shifted from protecting Riley into a scorched earth vendetta?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. Is the protector becoming a tyrant within his own sanctuary?
To evaluate that, we really have to look at the mechanics of a siege mentality.
A siege mentality.
Yeah. Benzito no longer views this as a neighborhood dispute. He perceives the safe haven as being under active attack by a coordinated network.
The lizards.
Right. In a scorched earth defense, the defender often views collateral damage like banning Matayo as a necessary evil for survival.
I mean, I guess from that perspective.
In Benzito's framework, anyone attached to Quewin's social or familial network is a potential weapon aimed at Riley. He isn't operating a fair judicial court that requires a burden of proof, you know?
No, definitely not.
He is operating a militarized checkpoint. If you wear the uniform of the opposing faction, you are denied entry.
A militarized checkpoint. That perfectly captures the atmosphere of the second source we are diving into.
Ah, yes, the YouTube video.
Yeah, the transcript from the video titled Never Again. This video is where Benzito moves away from the timeline of events and really exposes the deep subterranean reasons behind this entire fortress he's built.
The written account gives us the actions, but the video transcript gives us the psychology.
Exactly.
It introduces a profound layer of historical context that just completely redefines every action we've discussed so far.
It totally does.
Oh.
Because it introduces Strike 5.
Which is wild, right?
Yeah. Given that Strike 3 was a permanent ban, Strike 5 sounds almost impossible, but Benzito outlines it clearly.
What's the reasoning for it?
Well, according to the video, Strike 5 was issued because Quewin allegedly refused to apologize for opening old wounds.
Interesting phrase. Opening old wounds.
Yeah. And the transcript details that Quewin had actually started acting nice to Riley again.
Oh, really?
But Benzito rejects this entirely. He states that Quewin is only putting on a friendly face because Matayo warned him that Benzito would retaliate.
So Benzito identifies the behavior as compliance driven by fear, not genuine remorse.
Yes, exactly.
He is reading the underlying motivation rather than just accepting the surface-level peace offer.
Right. Benzito says in the video, you only stopped because you got scared, not because you cared.
Wow. That's a powerful line.
It is. And then comes the revelation that angers this entire deep dive. Benzito turns the camera on his own past.
This is where everything shifts.
He reveals that from the age of 7 all the way to 15, he was severely bullied.
8 years.
8 years. He was called names and branded as weak every single day, both within his home and at school.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. But let's pause and consider the ages here. How old is Riley during this conflict with Quewin?
Riley is exactly 7 years old.
Yeah.
He is at the precise age where Benzito's own long nightmare began.
So what does this all mean for the narrative we are unraveling? Picture the dynamic we've been tracking today. This is no longer just a neighbor looking out for a kid.
No, no.
This is a psychological time machine.
A time machine, yeah.
Benzito is attempting to reach back into the past and save his 7-year-old self by saving Riley. He is fighting the ghosts of his own trauma, which have basically manifested in the physical forms of Quewin and these lizards.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, taking that a step further, the transcript provides critical details about the environment where Benzito's childhood trauma took place.
Right, the school.
Yes, it highlights a textbook case of institutional betrayal.
Institutional betrayal.
Yeah, Benzito states that the teachers at his school did nothing to help him. And he makes a very specific point to note that this is the exact same school Quewin currently attends.
Benzito says, no one didn't protect me. And he reveals a detail that is just, honestly, it's devastating.
What happened?
The teachers didn't just passively watch the bullying happen, they actively joined in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they participated in the abuse of a child they were supposed to educate.
The sociological impact of that cannot be overstated.
Yep.
I mean, when the individuals or institutions explicitly tasked with your protection become your abusers, it just shatters your foundational trust in society.
I can't even imagine.
You learn that going to the authorities is not just useless, but it's actually dangerous. Because those specific teachers at that specific school failed Benzito so completely, eventually forcing him to leave the school entirely. His faith in any traditional system to handle Quaylen is just non-existent.
It makes perfect sense now.
He cannot report Quaylen to the school administration. He cannot rely on community leaders. In his worldview, the system is fundamentally complicit in the destruction of the vulnerable.
Which explains the HR department, the militarized checkpoints, the permanent bans.
Exactly.
If the system is broken, you have to build your own. Benzito creates this rigid 5-strike framework because he has to become the absolute authority that he was denied as a child.
He's taking the control he never had.
Yeah. So let's look at the specific rules of this Strike 5, because in the video, Benzito lays them out like a trauma response manifesto.
Okay, let's hear them.
Rule number 1. Quaylen is not welcome near him, the farm, or the farmhouses, a geographical quarantine.
Right, keeping the physical distance.
Rule number 2. No help from Benzito for Quaylen or his family. A total withdrawal of community resources.
Cutting off all support. Rule number 3. The lizards are in, quote, big shit.
Which is basically a formal declaration of open, sustained conflict against the entire faction.
Definitely. And rule number 4 is the most intense. Benzito states he will actively hunt the fake lizard that Quaylen plays every day.
The fake lizard.
Yeah, he tells Quaylen, I'll make sure you hide, killing every single day.
Let's analyze the mechanism behind that highly charged language.
Please do, because it's pretty extreme.
It is. Benzito isn't just promising physical exclusion here. He is vowing to dismantle Quaylen's social camouflage.
Social camouflage.
Yes. The fake lizard refers to the manipulative persona Quaylen uses to deceive others, like the initial lie about his name.
Oh, right. The fake name at the very beginning.
Exactly. Benzito is dedicating himself to constantly exposing that persona, stripping away the manipulator's ability to operate in the shadows.
Wow. And to maintain that level of exposure, Benzito relies on a vigilance that borders on the supernatural.
In the video, he describes this profound connection with young Riley. He looks directly into the camera, addressing Quaylen, and says, I can sense if you did something, even when Riley is quiet. I know it's you. I know when you've done something to Riley before even Riley says a word.
And, that capability is deeply rooted in neuroscience.
Is it?
Yeah. When a person endures chronic abuse, particularly from a young age like Benzito did, the brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, becomes heavily rewired.
Huh?
It gets stuck in overdrive, constantly scanning the environment for danger. This results in hypervigilance.
So he's always on alert.
Always. Benzito doesn't need Riley to verbally report the abuse because Benzito's brain is highly attuned to the micro-expressions of fear.
That is fascinating.
He recognizes the subtle shifts in body language, the specific quality of the silence and the withdrawal. He recognizes the architecture of a victim because it was his own architecture for 8 long years.
The architecture of a victim, that really hits hard.
It does.
Benzito proclaims, Riley and I are bond beyond yours. He has constructed an emotional and physical fortress around this child. He tells Quaylen directly, you opened old wounds, you brought back the pain, and for that, you on Strike 5 forever.
Forever.
Forever. There is no expiration date on this boundary.
And that makes sense. Allowing Quaylen any grace or access would require Benzito to lower his defenses.
And he can't do that.
No, in the reality Benzito inhabits, lowering your defenses means a 7-year-old gets destroyed by the very people who should know better. The prominence of Strike 5 is a direct reflection of the permanence of his own childhood scars.
It's just incredible how deep this goes.
Truly.
As we wrap up this deep dive into the safe haven, I want to bring this reflection directly to you, the listener. We started this conversation talking about physical property lines and neighborhood disputes, but we've ended up deep inside the architecture of human trauma.
A very different landscape.
Completely. Think about your own life for a moment. Consider the strict boundaries you set today, the absolute deal breakers you enforce, the walls you put up, or the people you have permanently banned from your own personal safe haven.
We all have them.
We do. How often do those rigid rules trace back to a specific moment where you were left unprotected in the past? Are the boundaries you fight so fiercely to maintain today truly about the present situation?
Or are they something else?
Right. Or are they an elaborate defense mechanism designed to protect a younger, more vulnerable version of yourself?
It is a really critical lens for self-reflection. And as you go about your day, I want to leave you with a complex question about the mechanics of these personal systems.
Go ahead.
We have tracked exactly why Benzito built his five-strike system, and we understand the profound institutional failures that made it necessary in his eyes.
Definitely.
But consider the long-term reality of operating your own militarized zone. If a personal justice system is built entirely on the foundation of an individual's unhealed trauma, does it actually empower the victim? In this case, giving young Riley the tools to navigate a complex world, or does it merely trap everyone involved in a permanent cycle of hypervigilance where every shadow is treated as a threat and the war for safety never actually ends?
Does the fortress built to keep the monsters out eventually lock you inside?
Exactly.
It is incredibly heavy and a lot to process. Thank you so much for joining us as we explored the boundaries of the safe haven on this deep dive. We will catch you on the next one.
Take care of yourselves.